except I lost a part of me. It's still so hard to believe. Come back, baby, please, 'cause we belong together. Hey y'all, I am Skylar Reed, and I'm going to review Mariah Carey's music. I love her music. Like, her songs are just timeless. She's been creating music for a very, very long time. And every album and single, it's just hit after hit after hit. It's like she never ends with amazing, good, beautiful music, and her voice is just impeccable. Mariah Carey has released 15 studio albums, which is a lot of music. I'm just going to go over a few things and pinpoint certain songs and albums that really stood out, that she really got recognized for and awarded for. And I'm going to just kind of breeze through all of these albums. And of course, at the end, I will share with you all what my favorite album is and what my least favorite is. There's one that I could have done without. Her first album was self-titled and released in 1990. My favorite songs from this album are Visions of Love and Vanishing. Visions of Love was one of those songs I remember growing up on. Like, that song was everywhere. It was huge. Vanishing was a song that I recently learned and recently covered. The album's success and her success at this time was amazing. She got a lot of great feedback. At the 1991 Billboard Music Award, she won the award for Top Pop Artist, Top Adult Contemporary Artist, Top Hot 100 Singles Artist, and she won Album of the Year. So you already know the impact this album had at the time. Other awards that she won in 1991 include some Grammys. Visions of Love won Best Female Pop Vocal Performance. She won Best New Artist. As a super new artist, to be able to do that and get that much recognition really just shows the kind of voice and musical ability she had. For this album, I really, really liked it. It has such a raw 90s energy to it, naturally. The electronic bass, the instrumentation of the time, it was really 90s and I enjoyed rocking to it. I like the nice mix of slow, mid, and up-tempo songs. She gave us a variety. This album showcased her powerhouse vocals, and that's why she got so many awards for this, because she really showed off. She's always had a super strong vocal ability, and I feel like when studying singers, you kind of see their growth musically, or their growth in their ability. And I feel like Mariah Carey, she was just like at the height of her height when she first started. She came right out the gate with amazing vocal ability. She had a lot more growling in her approach for singing in that first album that I noticed. I really enjoyed the background vocals. She did a lot of her own background vocals, so that was kind of cool to hear her do her own background vocals and hit some of those highs. Her second album, Emotions, was released in 1991. She won Favorite Soul and R&B Female Artist at the AMAs in 1992, which was one of the first years she won it. She ended up winning that award a lot more as she continued to release music. During this time, she won Favorite Soul and R&B Artist at the AMAs in 1992, which was the first time she won that award, and she actually continued to win that award in upcoming years. Overall, this album was high energy. The vibes felt similar to the first album, just more upbeat. She continued the trend of heartfelt, slow ballads with You Don't Remember. I really love the backgrounds in Can't Let Go and the change in the music so much. Her backgrounds really make her music special, because backgrounds can be everything. They really create the color and the feel of the song. I also love how the song was elevated with the modulation, and she had whistle tones later on at the end, so those are always an awesome thing to hear because I still can't figure out how she does it. I think she leveled up her powerhouse vocals in this album. She just showcased even more. I like Make It Happen. It had a 90s groove. She went to church on If It's Over. That song, she laid it down. I think that song is a great expression of her voice. She has the tones and the runs down, like that gospel flair, like she has that. The music was overall more diverse to me in sound and ironically emotions. I just felt like there were a lot more dynamic in topics. The Wind stuck out to me a lot. I really appreciated that song. It was jazzy and it was just really different. The pitches are kind of hard in that song. That was a very challenging song melodically. Like, the ear that she has is crazy. The song kind of gave me Billie Holiday vibes, just a little bit. It was just so dark, and I liked it. My favorite songs on this album is Can't Let Go and Make It Happen. Her next album, Music Box, was released in 1993. My favorite songs for this album were Anytime You Need a Friend, Without You, and All I've Ever Wanted, which I really, really love All I've Ever Wanted. It's so powerful, especially with how she vocal arranged it and everything. So in 1994 at the ARIA Music Awards, the album won Most Popular Album of the Year and Best Chart Album Performance. She also won the Most Popular International Singer. In 1993, she won Favorite Pop Rock Female Artist at the AMAs. 1994 Billboard Music Awards, she won Top Female Artist. I think Music Box is a beautiful album. It's iconic. It had Hero on it. It's a really amazing put together piece of art. Hero is a timeless piece. It's a classic masterpiece of a song, and it really stood the test of time. I really enjoyed reading the story about how she conceptualized Hero in her book. She sounds much more mature vocally to me, even though she's always had a big voice. I feel like, of course, when you get a little bit older, you add depth to your voice. So when she does Anytime You Need a Friend, yeah, that song goes hard vocally. I love the background choir, and I've noticed that she uses background choirs or heavy background vocals often to really elevate a song and just give a certain feel to it. The lyrical content of this album was much more than love songs, and it had so much more depth, which I really appreciated, because it wasn't just, you know, being lonely in love. It was like real life things you can kind of relate to personally. I feel like that makes her stand out as an artist, just like having diversity in content. Like, you don't just always want to talk about love, which a lot of artists do, which is cool, but I think it's dope to have some diversity and some different point of views in your music. With the title track of the album, Music Box, she personalizes music, and I really think that's an interesting and unique approach. When you personalize something, it definitely makes it more relatable. I like the upbeat songs on this album, and I think it's placed perfectly throughout the album. It's a really good mix, and it flows. Without You is such a strong, bold song lyrically. I just feel it, and I love how she changes the dynamic and the register where she's singing for the chorus part. On the first one, she's singing low in her chest voice. And then when she comes back around to the second chorus, she's belting it out. She's singing it in her upper mix voice, and she's using a lot of power. Her next album was Daydream, and it was released in 1995. So my favorite songs for this album are Always Be Your Baby and Looking In. Always Be Your Baby is such a classic. Like, I love performing this song. Like, it's so good. And vocally, it's challenging. Looking In is just so personal, like so introspective. It's a very vulnerable song, and I really appreciate the vulnerability. The success of this album was pretty good. In the 1996 Billboard Music Awards, she won Top Hot 100 Singles Artist, and One Sweet Day won a special award for being on the charts for 16 weeks, which was kind of unheard of at that time. Overall, this album was cool. I love the melody in Looking In, and I think it was a great album. The next album was released in 1997, and it was called Butterfly, and I feel like this is where she kind of became more into her own as a brand. My favorite songs from this album are Honey and My All. This album had more of an R&B feel to me, with more groove. It had less ballads as she was used to doing on previous albums, so that was kind of missing, and kind of like a shift in, you know, where she continued to go musically. She gives a little bit more of her taste of hip-hop in this album, which is a trend of hers. Like, she really has an appreciation for hip-hop. She made it a point to work with hip-hop artists. She's featuring hip-hop artists like Crazy Bones. I feel like this album, she really came into her own. The songs were more mature. They were more mature love songs. I appreciated this album. I thought it was cool. Her next album was released in 1999, and it was called Rainbow. I really love the cover of this album. Like, I totally remember this time. Like, this is like when Mariah Carey really was like Mariah Carey to me. Like, she just kind of broke off from this kind of conservative image. This album kind of shifted her image. So my favorite song from this album is Heartbreaker. I really think this is the album where she started becoming the Mariah Carey we know today. Image-wise and sound-wise, this is like next level Mariah Carey right here. So I was surprised to hear how much featuring Usher. I didn't know that they had collaborated before, and I thought the song was cool. And she also gave us some ballads. People love Mariah Carey for her beautiful ballads because she can sing them, so why not? So she gave us After Tonight, which was a beautiful ballad. She continued to feature more hip-hop artists like Jay-Z and Snoop Dogg, and overall I thought the album was alright. The next album was Glitter, and it was released in 2001. In the 2002 Billboard Music Awards, Lover Boy won Top R&B Hip-Hop Single. She continued to work with hip-hop artists like Nate Dogg, Ja Rule, and so many others, and I think it was cool. In each album she worked with new artists and really just incorporated rappers of the time. The song Didn't Mean to Turn You On gave me Shaka Khan vibes. I thought it was really groovy. Don't Stop featuring Mystical goes with the whole theme of the album, but I'm not a fan of the song. Later in the album she gives us her classic sounding records that we all love, like Twister. Overall, this album was so-so to me. Charm Bracelet was her next released album, and it was dropped in 2002. My favorite songs from this album are Through the Rain, Boy, I Only Wanted, Clown, My Saving Grace, Lullaby, Bringing on the Heartbreak. I know that's a lot of songs, but I just couldn't really narrow them down. This was when I really became a Mariah Carey fan. This was one of those albums I played like, I don't know how many times. It was probably hundreds. In my little CD player, my little headphones, on the floor, like just vibing to this album. And I would know every track title, every lyric, every like the order. The album's amazing to me. It really showcases her vocal ability even more. And it has diversity musically as well. I feel like we get a refreshed Mariah Carey with this album. It's just a different sound. And I know like we're in the 2000s now, so musically, naturally, it's a different vibe completely. But just her singing, her style, how she's approaching the song, her song choices, how she's writing, it's just different. This had a perfect blend of R&B and hip-hop, and I feel like she was attempting to do that with Glitter and maybe some other songs from her previous albums, but this album really was the one for me that was like, oh, I get what you're trying to do and it makes sense and it sounds good and it's dope. It wasn't cheesy with the hip-hop mixed in. Irresistible was almost cheesy, but low-key, the song is pretty dope. I really appreciate Sunflowers for Alfred Roy, which I later found out was her father. I used to listen to that song and I would just love it. I was just like, wow, this is so pretty and so deep to read that she wrote that about her father in her book. Was really like cool to just kind of get the bits and pieces of like where all these songs came from and stem from. Her next album, Emancipation of Mimi, was released in 2005. My favorite songs were We Belong Together, of course, Shake It Off, Say Something featuring Snoop Dogg, Stay the Night, Circles, Fly Like a Bird. In the 2005 Billboard Music Awards, she won Female R&B Hip Hop Artist of the Year, and We Belong Together won several awards, including the Hot 100 Single of the Year, the Hot 100 Airplay of the Year, and the Rhythmic Top 40 Title of the Year. In the 2005 World Music Awards, We Belong Together won World's Most Played Single. I remember at that time, all you heard on the radio was We Belong Together. In the 2006 Billboard Music Awards, she won Top R&B Hip Hop Artist, and Emancipation of Mimi won Top R&B Hip Hop Album. In the 2006 Grammy Awards, Emancipation of Mimi won Best Contemporary R&B Album. We Belong Together won Best R&B Song and Best Female R&B Performance. And in the 2006 NAACP Image Awards, it won Outstanding Album. In the 2006 Soul Train Music Awards, it won Best Female R&B Soul Album. And We Belong Together won Best Female R&B Song. This album got a lot of recognition. It was a good album. I specifically remember doing a competition during that time when I sang Fly Like a Bird. That was like one of the songs I was working on, and it was hard, but I was like, I want to do a Mariah Carey song, and that's the one I chose. I thought it was such an amazing song and a hard song, and I chose hard songs. I was like, I want to challenge myself. So Mariah Carey, she was the biggest challenge there was. Overall, The Emancipation of Mimi was a really good album. It's so great. It's up-tempo. It flowed well. I really love the album. I thought it was cool hearing Jermaine Dupri sing on Get Your Number. I really like that song. She features hip-hop artists including Nelly, Snoop Dogg, and so much more. The next album Mariah Carey released was E=MC² in 2008. This album was fun for me. My favorite songs were Migrate, I Stay in Love, Love Story, and Bye Bye. I absolutely love the bounce in Migrate and how it starts off the album. Super high energy. There was a great back and forth again with the tempos. Just really good flow. She continues to feature hip-hop artists like Jeezy. The song That Chick gave me glitter vibes. It kind of had a disco sound, but it was upbeat and more fitting for the times. I really love her background vocals in her upbeat songs, and she does a lot of great colors and blends and just different sounds and stuff in the background. It really makes a song, especially in the upbeat stuff. Like, it's not just the upbeat song, it's very musical, and I really love that she approaches it that way. It really makes the songs feel so much fuller. I absolutely love her vocals in the song I Wish You Well. This song is just so good. She showed off that voice, and she ends with amazing ad-libbing, and it's just so good. Her next album release was Memoirs of an Imperfect Angel in 2009. I didn't know this album existed, which is crazy because I was like, oh, I'm a Mariah Carey fan. I did know the song Obsessed, which I love. I absolutely love that song. Kept playing it on repeat because I'm just like, did she really say that? And I really love that about her songwriting. She's very comedic. Bet You're Gonna Know is one of my faves from this album, and Standing O is one of my faves. I really like this album. It slipped through my radar the first go round, but I have definitely been enjoying listening to it again and again. Her next album was Me, I'm Mariah Carey, The Elusive Chanteuse. This album was released in 2014. Another album that kind of went under my radar. My favorite song is Beautiful featuring Miguel. I like that she featured Wale on You Don't Know What to Do. She continues that mesh of hip-hop and R&B and including hip-hop artists in her music, which was cool. The vibe of the music was too upbeat for me. I just didn't really like hearing him on that kind of track. And again, it gave me glitter energy. Almost a little cheesy. I thought this album was cool. It was alright. Her last album that she released was in 2018 called Caution. My favorite songs from this album are GTFO, Caution, and A No-No. I think this album was so fun and just really embodied more of her like charisma and her comedic sense lyrically. It had vibes of like Obsessed, of that song. Like, it just kind of continued the lightheartedness, which I think is so cool because I feel like when she first started, she sang with so much passion and depth. And now she's like having fun and she's light, and the songs just have a different energy kind of completely. This album was really good. She works with current hip-hop artists like Ty Dolla $ign and Gunna, which I thought was pretty dope. I love the breakdown in Give Me Life in the end. It's such a vibe, and I'm like, wow, this is so cool how it just kind of, the timing feels like it changes, it kind of slows down, and it's just really cool. I thought this album was great. Like, this was a great album. She uses more falsetto on this. She started off super strong, super belty, super full. She later tapped more into her falsetto side, her lighthearted side, and I feel like it shows more in the albums after Butterfly. Her upbeat songs and stuff, they're more like in the higher falsetto tone, and I don't know if that's a choice because she is getting older, her voice is changing, and that range is like what's best for her. I don't know if that's a musical choice of, oh, this is what the song is called for, which honestly I feel like it makes sense. Like, the way she's singing a lot of these up-tempo, fun-hearted songs, it makes sense for her to be dainty and light and falsetto with her voice. But what I love about Mariah Carey is, low-key, she's an alto. Like, I really feel like she's an alto that just can sing soprano. Her natural voice is low and brassy and rich, and she just can sing the hell out of a falsetto note. Like, she can sing, like, just anything. And she has the whistle tone, which is super special. I like that she uses it to ornament certain songs. She doesn't use it all the time, but she really uses it to really just embellish on certain songs. I think Mariah Carey is like two artists in one. Really, there's a pre-glitter Mariah and there's a post-glitter Mariah. That's how I see it. That's how I hear it. Her sound was completely different before glitter. I feel like she completely shifted gears after that whole moment. And maybe that caused her to, you know, really hone in on like the sound that she was trying to do or whatever. But the sound that she came with after that, it really feels like she came into her own as an artist. It was like she had the image, she had the brand, she showed who she was more. She was more vulnerable, but also just showed her lightheartedness and just different stories throughout the lyrics and just more fun. And I feel like, you know, that showcases more of who she probably is. I definitely love the before glitter Mariah Carey. Like, she sang the hell out of those ballads. I think she did an amazing job changing with the times. Like, she just released the album in 2018 and it was fire. Her songwriting is very advanced. She's taught me some words. So I think that's cool. That's a standout thing of her and her music. I noticed that she has a common theme in her post-glitter era with her albums, that she starts off really high energy and then she ends with like a really slow ballad or mid-tempo something that's usually very powerful and meaningful. I just noticed that structure of her albums now, and I think it's cool. Like, it really does flow. Like, it's Fly Like a Bird or I Wish You Well, like these songs that are towards the end of her albums or at the end of her albums that really showcase why she's Mariah Carey and why she's still around and why she's still relevant. Because all of these other songs that she's doing don't necessarily showcase all of her vocal ability, but they're dope songs, you know? But then you get to certain songs that it's just like, okay, she put her stamp on it. I appreciate that she still gives her core audience songs that she knows they want to hear. Like, we want to hear Mariah Carey belt and sing and do the whistle tones and do beautiful ballads and really give us something to feel other than the pop records and the high energy fun records and whatnot. I love Mariah Carey. I've been a fan of her since I was a kid, and it's been so awesome going back and reviewing her music. It's been so refreshing to just rediscover her and get to know more of like who she is through her music, since she is the songwriter. I think that's amazing and it's very inspiring. My favorite album is Charm Bracelet. This album came out a year after something tragic happened in my life, and songs like Through the Rain helped me so much. Songs like My Saving Grace helped me so much. Of course, there are beautiful love songs on this album, but what stood out to me the most were the lyrics of these uplifting, really personable songs. It almost felt like she was speaking directly to me. And I feel like that's what a lot of her fans feel. And from reading her book, she is sometimes directly speaking to her fans. So Charm Bracelet was definitely one of my favorites. I could just play this album from start to finish and not skip a song. My second favorite album is Emancipation of Mimi. This album was just good. We Belong Together, like really, like that song was amazing. All the other songs that followed, it was just a really good album to me. During this time in 2005, I was singing and I was really getting to know my voice, and I was doing competitions, and Fly Like a Bird was one of those songs that I did. And I feel like with this album too, I could play it and not skip anything. It just flowed really well. Least favorite album, Glitter. Nothing really stuck out to me or songs were out of place to me. In the scope of Mariah Carey's music, those albums were my least favorites. That's all I'll say. I would love to know what your favorite album is. Let me know in the comments. Make sure you guys hit that like button if you like this video, and of course hit that subscribe button, and follow me on all social media at I am Skylar Reed, and you can follow my studio page at Skylar's Music Studio. If you're interested in any of my services like vocal lessons, online course, or monthly subscription, just go to my website, Skylar's Music Studio, check it out, reach out to me, let me know what you want to do, and let's work together. I love working with singers. There's this awesome product called singing straws, and I use singing straws often in practice and in teachings for voice. If you want to practice your voice and work on your tone and your breathing, they're perfect for that. If you're interested, the link is in my description to get a discounted price on your own singing straw. All right, you guys, y'all take care. Peace.